So your character is Jorge. I can pronounce that one right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, how did that specific role come about? Just out of curiosity, like how did it all happen? How did you land, the character's role, and what was the process behind it all? Yeah.
Um, I mean I would say the process is uh way easier than what a lot of people think it is. When you're auditioning, you're sending out a bunch of audition tapes to a ton of productions, ton of casting offices. And at the time, I think I was sending out like maybe three or four a week, and you send out these auditions. For that one specifically, I do remember the third scene that I did. That was the scene I think that kind of solidified it.
Mm, okay.
And when I did the tape, I sent it in, and I didn't hear anything for a while. And I was visiting my girlfriend's parents in a town called Guelph out
Okay.
here, and we were just, we were hanging out, and then I got a phone call. I want to say like a month and a half later,
Mm,
and I got the call saying, "Hey, they really liked your tape, um, and they want to, give you an offer. Would you want to go and film in Vancouver for a little bit?"
mm.
And I've always wanted to work in Vancouver. It was like a goal where I said, there's so many things, so many productions in Vancouver. I've always wanted to go there. So I said
Yeah, a
yes,
lot of people
and
have said that about Canada, like with the film studios, and they've said quite a lot about the area to film
yeah,
in.
Vancouver has some really good spots. I mean, the studio that we were in was in Burnaby, which is about, I think it's about 45 to an hour drive outside of the city, which is
Yeah.
most of the, locations. It's like that, and Coquitlam, which is a really nice spot. And then there's like West Van where a lot of people live. But when I booked it, I went, and I think I was there for about 2 months,
Mm.
2 months and a bit. It was really yeah, it was great. I mean, I got to work a lot. I was working every day. There was sometimes they give you these like set days, but with this one, um it was a contract that I had that was like episodic. So it was them just saying, "Oh, you're showing up every day, and we might have something for you. We
Oh
might,
wow.
we might not." So you go in expecting to shoot a certain scene, and you might not shoot it. You'll shoot it the next day, but
Mm.
you're basically going in to work 9 to 5.
Yeah. Oh wow. So you knew it was going to be quite a big role to take on and quite a long lasting role in the show because
Well,
I guess
whatever.
everyone's
I don't want
schedule
to
is.
say whatever. I was only third on the call sheet, which is a
Mm.
pretty big deal, but uh,
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's true. Yeah, I mean, what was you thinking when it took a month and a half, for them to reach out to you? Did you think the time had already passed? Did
that's
you? Yeah.
no, it's pretty normal for that to happen.
Mm,
You don't expect to hear things right away, but I mean, some stuff you could
mm,
hear like a week, 2 weeks later, but usually yeah, it's about a month. So
mm.
I wasn't I wasn't, ecstatic, but it's part of the job where you just kind of get a phone call, and then you're like, yeah, okay, well, I guess I'm going to do a job next week for a little while.
Mm.
And luckily my partner, she's an actor and writer, so she kind of gets the deal, which is great. So if she were to hear that from me, she's like, yeah, for sure, go. And I
Mm.
would do the same with her. So it's to anybody who doesn't work in the industry, I guess it would come as a shock, where
Yeah.
you'd be like, "Yeah, I'm going to Vancouver for 2 months. Bye."
Mm. Yeah.
In
Yeah.
a week,
It is. Yeah.
in a week, I got to go for 2 months. Bye.
Yeah. I'm sure you
Maybe that's a
enjoy it at
good
the
thing for
same
some
time.
people. I don't know.
Gives yourself a break, doesn't it? Um,
Oh yeah, yeah.
in some sense.
We I mean, you make it work, but I did enjoy. I think as a performer, you do enjoy the reset. It's
Mm.
like you go, and it's like this fresh, you get to like kind of um just live a different life,
Mm.
like a performer life for a bit,
Yeah,
which I can
yeah.
see being after 2 months. I don't know how much I would have enjoyed it, but if you're like a touring performer, I guess it would get pretty stressful because you're just in a different hotel room all the time. But with this one, the show did a great job. They put us up in a nice apartment, and
Oh
we got
wow.
to just
So
work,
yeah, so they
which
seem,
is good.
yeah. So they provide location and while you're
Oh
working.
yeah, it was
Okay,
great.
wow.
And it gives you a chance to just I would go home, read the scripts, and just do my thing. And
Mm.
yeah, it was
Yeah, wow.
it was a nice calm routine that we had. So
Mm.
that was good.
Did you choose the name Jorge, or was that provided to you? Would you have chosen a different
That
name?
was based off of the book.
Yeah, yeah.
The character's name in the book is George.
Okay.
So they had made him Latino in the
Yeah, yeah. I was
series.
thinking that.
Todd, who is the showrunner and writer, he decided to make him Latino, which was, good for me.
Okay,
And when I went in with the character, I guess I base when I am trying to like do a character, I base it a lot on people that I know. So Jorge was pretty much a mix of my mom and dad, you
okay.
know?
Were they allowed to keep the original names, or would that be sort of copyright from the original book? Do
Oh, I
you?
don't know. Good
Okay,
question.
yeah.
I have
Just out
no
of
idea.
curiosity. Yeah,
But I know that Michael Phillips, who is one of the executive producers, he has he had the rights for
yeah.
the book.
Oh, that's
So
cool. Yeah, yeah. Of
I'm
course.
guessing that he was able to sign off
Yeah.
on everything that was possible in the series.
Mm,
Um and I think when I first got there, they had explained to us that they were trying their best to stick to the book as much as possible,
mm, mm.
other than changing around, uh, uh, like I said, George into Jorge
Yeah, yeah.
or certain little aspects of certain characters. But overall, I think they stuck to the book. I know that
Okay.
Jean, who's played by Hillary McCormick, her character in the book is I think a little different
Mm.
uh with the whole rock star thing.
Yeah,
She's like
yeah.
a folk musician or something. But
Okay.
it's
They've
little
they've
bits
altered
like
a few
that.
things then, quite a few things.
Yeah, it is cool.
Yeah, no, it
But I
is.
mean it was really cool to discuss the book while we were shooting
Yeah,
because
I bet. Yeah.
a lot of us would you get time as the actors to sit around and be in the green room and holding, but it was mostly just like six of us, five of us, always sitting together in a group. So we did a
Mm.
lot of chatting, and yeah, we would talk about the actual story and what was going on. Um, some actors had way more material than others when it came
Yeah.
to like stuff to work off of. Jessica, who for me is just she's this powerhouse. She had so much right beside her when she was working. Like she had so much material that she was constantly looking at. And yeah, and I would kind of like use her as my cheat sheet. And
Mm.
I would always ask her questions and be like,
Okay. Yeah.
so during this part,
Mhm.
what do you think and
Yeah.
she was great because she would just kind of break stuff down for me, and we would talk about it. But to have another actor like that with you is
Yeah,
great.
I'm sure it helps having all that, intel, and
Well,
information and
because for me, yeah, I'm the actor on set, kind of always asking questions.
okay.
Which it got to the point where Todd and Stephen Campanelli, he's one of the directors he directed episode 5 and 6. Stephen would make fun of me
Really?
after a little while we were
Yeah.
shooting, because he'd be like, you know, I improvise a good amount. So I learn the script. I always learn the script, but he was making fun of me because I would go off script a good
Yeah.
amount of the time, and then
Okay.
he would say, he would say, "Does anyone, are we going to take a break for a little bit? Let Rod read the script for a bit."
Yeah, yeah,
So it was funny in that
yeah.
sense, but we became all good
Did
friends.
they did they
It was
use
really
any
fun.
of the work where you went off script? Did they like use any of your input in that way?
A little bit.
Mm.
Sometimes I think they did, but we, like I said, we wanted to stick to the book as much as
Yeah,
possible.
yeah,
Uh, so a good amount of the stuff, a little bit. I don't want to give anything away, but yeah, they used certain moments that, you improvise or something, but
yeah,
it all comes from Todd, the showrunner,
yeah.
creator. He's the guy who kind of like
Well,
tells you what to do.
I feel like I'd be similar to you, I guess, in a sense, because I feel like I'd be asking questions constantly. I'm like, I need. It's not. Well, for me, it'd be a different story. It's more for the reassurance side of things
Oh
while
yeah.
working, but
No,
I think
no,
it's quite
asking
normal
questions is
anyway.
great.
Yeah. Mm.
You should be asking a bunch, but also when I guess if you're working as the actor, you kind of want to answer your own questions
Mm.
before you go into work, so you're not wasting everybody's
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. Luckily, I'm not an actor, and I just do podcasting. But yeah.
Yeah, totally.
um.
That's really funny.
Yeah. What was it like working on a post-apocalyptic set, though? In more detail.
Um, I'd say one of the most impressive parts was the art department when they were doing set deck. Uh, you kind of think of it already, but when you see all the plant life growing on everything, um, that for me was really
Mm.
crazy to see when you're there for 2 months. So by a month in, you're seeing the change and how long, because with the time jumps in the show,
Yeah,
you're
they're quite
seeing
big.
all the yeah, you're seeing the greenery, you're seeing everything kind of get there. And there's the portion of the show where we talk about um agriculture and the drought and that was really impressive to just see them do it so quickly because we were shooting days where they were really long days, and then all of a sudden it had to be like, okay, we're actually doing this scene now. You guys have to change this up in the garden, and Set Deck just killed it right
Mm.
away. They were great. That for
Wow.
me was one of the coolest parts.
Yeah.
Um, for like a post-apocalyptic show, it does get you do this like uh internal thought process every day where you're like, oh, that's right. I would be very sad during the
Yeah.
apocalypse
Okay.
because you're just, a lot of people would get lonely or everything. So, and I think that's what the show does too, is it's like, what is everybody searching for? And you're all searching for love and family
Mm.
and, you know, you
Because
want your
yeah,
kids to grow up in something. So,
because a lot of us say, I think when you're a fan of those type of shows, a lot of us say, oh, we want to experience that in real life, and I think a lot of people say, oh, that'd be so cool, but when you you don't actually realize it when you're in that situation, if it ever was to happen, I suppose.
yeah,
Um,
I think
you
Ish
haven't seen it until.
touches on that in the
Mm.
show too. So maybe in the first episode, actually, yeah, we do see that because I mean, who wouldn't want to go to Vegas and just party
Mm.
and do your thing? I don't know how much work in the slot machines would help, but if you're going to party your ass off in
Mm.
Vegas for a little bit during the apocalypse, what is that really doing for you?
Yeah.
So and then he says to himself, I need to go home. Like I need to see
Mm.
my parents. I need to be with people I love. And
Yeah.
that I think that is the show.
Mm, yeah, 100%. And that Vegas scene was outstanding when I watched that because I was just like, how did they film that? It's just incredible how they put all that together. Just the whole setup, and it felt so real on the screen
Oh
watching it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it did look cool.
Mm.
Have you ever been there?
No, not yet. I do want to come out to LA, so hopefully one day we'll see if I get
Oh,
out there.
please, please do.
Mm.
It's really fun.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. Just got to stay away from certain parties and, Diddy parties. Um,
That's funny.
yeah. How do you feel you and the rest of the cast brought the group's dynamic to life?
When I first got there, it was so easy to be friends with everybody. I owe that to Alexander and Jess, because they were the first two that right away they walked up to everybody, shook our hands, and said, "We're family now. We got to act like a family. We're all friends." And we made a group chat and right away just started we all started, as families do. Um you have these like family conversations, go out for dinner, you have debates, get into little arguments, and I think that's what we all did right away in our first week, and it kicked off the whole shoot in such a
Mm,
good way. And
well,
we all became friends in real life, and that kind of helped. But I think I think not having like a bad apple in the bunch was just, the most it was just a great thing, because
yeah.
like usually you'll, if someone's not really putting in the work when you're doing a show like this or any other job, it affects everybody's mood,
Mm,
you know.
mm. Have
If
you
the
ever,
star
yeah,
of the show is not in a good mood every day, everyone's going to be like, "Why are we here?" But
yeah, no,
Jess
of
and
course.
Alex, they were amazing. They made everybody feel great every single day.
Well, have you ever experienced, something like that? Negative input
Oh,
and
totally.
yeah,
I've
yeah.
I've done,
Because
yeah,
not
I
many
did.
people talk about that. It's always like, oh, everyone's good family and happy and yeah,
No, I did
which
a
is a good thing.
play. I did a musical where someone was a cast member was constantly in a bad mood, and it affected everyone's mood the whole time, and I did that show for like 4 months, and yeah, it was a nightmare to go into all the time. So when going into a show like this and loving the people that you were working with, and we all still talk now, which is good. I'm
Mm.
sure we'll all still be friends
It's going to
for a
be
while,
long,
but
long lasting.
yeah. But it really does, just I think it affects your work ethic too, like, because my next job that I do and the job after that, I'm going to think about how great of a time I had working on something where everybody put out that sort of energy. So I think it's an example that everyone has to set.
Mm. Yeah, no, of course. On to your character a bit more. Jorge represents, like a generation that's adapted to the new world. How do you think he views the old world compared to the elders?
On the show, I mean, he's a man of faith, so he's constantly trying to find the good in people and trying to look at the good on the other side. Um, so I don't think he sees a difference. I think he sees the people more.
Mm,
He knows the world is bad.
mm,
Like, he knows that bad happens all the time. Um, so I think he's more looking at people, and I think we see that when he's looking at Maureen.
okay.
Because Maureen kind of is a little standoffish with him. I mean, it's his wife,
Mm,
and she doesn't really talk to him that much, but he's still there being like, I'm not going to stop asking you if you need help. I'm going to keep being there. And I think that's what he's like with everyone.
yeah, no, of course. I mean, it seems like he's a really down to earth character on the
Yeah, and
show.
I,
Yeah.
and we see that too, even when we see Charlie come in. Um,
Yeah, you
I
didn't want to
think we
kill him, did you? Your original vote was no to killing him.
No, and I think
Yeah.
that's more of, if we do that, where does it end?
Mm, mm.
But I'm not going to give anything away, but
I mean, I
I
didn't mean to
think
interfere
we
you. You had something that you
no,
wanted to say, yeah.
yeah, I
Yeah.
think it's more that he wants to see the best in every situation.
Yeah, no, of course. And
But
yeah.
sometimes, like Maureen says in that one scene where they have the meeting, you know? Charlie Charlie needs to die.
Mm,
So
mm,
everything in that episode too is uh how much you love someone.
mm, mm. Do you think there was a reason, like a deeper reason, though, to why you originally said no to killing Charlie? I mean, on a deeper level?
I think it's fear. I think he was afraid if they did that, then would they just turn into um would they turn into like beasts? Like it's just, you kill one person and then who's to say everybody just doesn't like have that hunger.
Mm, mm,
Um I think it's fear. Yeah.
okay.
At least that's the way I saw it when we were doing that scene
Yeah.
where um I know that he wanted to. I know that he understood Maureen when she was telling him,
Yeah.
and he understood the group, but you don't really, I mean, nobody wants to do that,
No.
but it, I guess, what would it take? I guess that's the question
Mm.
too. What would it take?
Yeah.
But
Well,
I think that maybe watching that scene also, we do see those those views on it, like the perspective. Um, but I do see where Jorge is coming from. But if it were me in that situation, yes, I would right away say, let's kill him.
okay. That's interesting. I mean, I mean, with his opinion though, they changed his mind pretty quickly. But although you can still
I
see
mean, a
he
good
was
amount of
sweating it.
time passes. A good amount
Yeah.
of time
Yeah.
passes, in the day. He
Yeah.
had a good day to think about it.
Okay.
But
Okay.
also, I'm guessing if your wife tells you something, you're gonna do it.
Yeah, you're just gonna do it, aren't you? I suppose. Hopefully. But
I would
depending on
think
what it
so
is. Yeah.
too.
Yeah. Yeah. Um. So what if you was to keep Charlie alive? What skills do you think he could have brought to the team if they didn't kill him?
Oh man, that would have been awkward. I don't think you're saying Charlie?
Mm.
I mean, he did bring the water, which to for him, him doing that, he was probably like, "Hey, like look what I did for you. I can do whatever I want."
Mm.
I mean, he could bring more water into the compound. Um, but I'm gonna say not much. I mean,
Mm.
everybody was scared of the guy.
Mm. Yeah.
So he would have brought a lot more fear into the
Mm.
group.
Yeah.
Everybody just seemed stressed when they were with him.
Yeah. Yeah. Did seem that way watching it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and I mean for what he did to Evie as well, you had every right to end his life there, I suppose. Should I be
Yeah.
careful on that?
No, not at all.
Yeah.
I mean,
Might get controversial now.
no, I mean, who knows? But also, like you said, it's a post-apocalyptic show. So
Mm,
I mean, those are probably the questions that Jorge had. I
mm,
mean, who's the jury?
mm,
Who is the law? Who is the law? Who's above the law? Those are
mm,
all questions that you're going to probably ask yourself when trying to decide that. That 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 scene too did make me think of I don't know if you've ever seen 12 Angry Men.
I have not, unfortunately, no.
So
Yeah.
I mean that kind of was the same same type of scene. It was like a courtroom, or jury room scene.
Okay. Um, I would have to go back and watch it or something at some
Please
point.
do.
Yeah, no, so I can relate to the subject. In episode 2 or 3, you arrived and joined the family quite quickly. I mean, you just saw the signs and you were suddenly there in the house. Do you think there could have been more of an expanded story to your intro? Do you think there could have been a bit more put out there for yourself?
I
and
think there could
Jorge?
have been a little bit more, but I mean, that would have probably been an entirely different episode.
Yeah,
Um,
that's true.
I would have loved to have had that. But with the time jumps, you know, you can't have a time jump for everything. So for
Mm,
me, it actually makes the viewer probably think up their own story for Jorge and Maureen.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I know you also mentioned a few things already, but was there a moment where you know, during filming, you felt connected to your character on a deep level?
When he's doing the monologue in the bed, I think that for me was one of the moments where, like I said, I always kind of like look at people I know.
Mm,
And that one was kind of something that I saw my dad in,
mm,
um, or
okay.
at least the story, just because when I was a kid, when I was about 9 years old, my dad had moved our family to Spain, because my dad got a job in Kuwait. He was a computer consultant, and he got a job in Kuwait. He was working there, and he was trying to do what was best for the family, you know, to keep us closer to him and trying to just, you know, find work somewhere. Um, and that for me was pretty close to the story that he was trying to do, you know,
Mm,
when a parent is just trying to make a better life
mm,
for their kid and for their family. So that one hit me a
yeah,
little bit
yeah.
when we were filming it, because I think I only did it 4 times,
Mm,
4 to 5 times, and by the fourth time you're just like, oh God, it's just hitting me even more now.
mm, yeah. So there's quite a lot of personal experiences then that obviously helped you understand your character better.
Yeah, I guess you try to do that. I mean, everybody has like a different way to that they get into
Mm,
some sort of character, but yeah,
You mentioned,
I would say so.
yeah, you mentioned Jorge was sort of quite religious as well. Are you religious you know, are you religious?
I am not.
Okay,
I have friends, I have family that are religious. But I personally am not. But I grew up going to Catholic school.
okay,
So I understand a good amount of it.
yeah,
And to tap into that was a little easier than I thought.
mm,
But
okay,
yeah, I'm not
yeah,
religious at all.
yeah. Do you think Jorge respects Ish's vision for the future?
I do. I think it's his best friend, and he values what he did for the community. So yeah, I think he does.
Mm,
I think we saw a little bit of when Jorge disagrees with the group, but in the end, he does what's best for the group.
mm, mm,
So, I mean, I think that's a pretty good lesson for anybody, really. But um, no, it's his best buddy.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But should the story have focused more on, you know, finding a cure for the pandemic a little bit?
Um, a little bit.
Mm,
I think so. I I I would say it's not the same thing, but yeah, a tiny bit.
yeah, yeah, because it's quite sidetracked from it, isn't it? It's like, you know, about more about what's sort of going wrong than finding a cure, I guess.
Yeah, and also with that one, a good portion of humans were wiped out,
Mm,
um, where Ish was left feeling like he was the only person.
mm,
With the real pandemic, millions of people died, and we a bunch of us are still here thinking like what is the future gonna be like, as opposed to Ish being like, is there a future worth living, you know?
mm, yeah. Should there have been more focus on global impacts of the pandemic as well, do you think?
Um, you're saying in the show?
Yeah, yeah.
No, I like the fact that we were reviewing it from this community.
Mm, mm,
You know, I think we've already had a lot of apocalypse or post-apocalyptic shows that were viewing it from the world, or viewing it on how the world is affected, which is kind of like a Jerry Bruckheimer sort of produced film or something.
yeah,
With this one, we were seeing it from just, one guy's eyes,
yeah,
which was
yeah,
cool.
yeah. It's nice to see it on a different side of the story, isn't it? And
It
makes it all
reminds
a
me
bit
of
different.
I mean, it's not a zombie show, but it reminds me a little bit of like that 28 Days Later
Yeah. Okay.
vibe where we're seeing, one guy kind of go around and realizing what's happening.
Mm, yeah. No, of course. Another quick question, because near the end, I mean,
Yeah.
near the end of the season, I mean, Ish was obviously teaching. Was it realistic for the survivors to abandon reading and education so quickly?
Um, I mean, realistic? I don't know.
Mm,
I've never been through this situation, but I do think um that once you reach a certain age, you're probably able to make your own decisions, you know?
yeah,
I don't
yeah.
think Ish is going to be like the overlord of the group. I think he did the right call in saying like, "Hey, you guys make your own choices now."
Mm, mm, yeah. I mean, it was still. I still think it was a little bit early in age for them to give up.
Yeah,
But
I mean,
yeah.
I could see that too, but
Mm,
we wouldn't have a real the show wouldn't be better if we waited that long, I
no,
think.
no, yeah. Do you think the real pandemics we have recently had bears any resemblance of what we have had on screen?
No, there's no way. I mean, I don't think any of us are really going to ever be able to put that on screen because there were so many different stories happening during the real pandemic. I mean, it's, ev so many people. I mean, I guess we all had that moment where we all had the same problem right away, where we were all like, what the hell's going on? But after a little while, I mean, it affected everyone differently.
Mm, yeah.
I mean, there were there's tons of people who are still struggling because of it. And then there were people who were like, rich, who were going off to like uh going off. I mean, a lot of people went to Australia, I think. Australia was kind of like a safe haven for a lot of people.
Mm,
Um, but yeah, it affected everyone differently, where I don't think you'd be able to make a pandemic movie and have everyone relate to it unless it was about that first moment where we all got that, you know, alert on our phone going,
mm,
everyone stay inside or something. I don't know.
mm,
But yeah, I think I don't think we're ever going to get a good pandemic movie like
mm,
that about trying to do the based off a true story. I don't think we're ever, I don't think it'll be
yeah.
possible.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's too many different ways, isn't there? And what's I'm trying to think of the right word, but to make it accurate to what's happening, it's a bit, yeah, it'd be a bit much, I think.
Yeah, and
It
like who
wouldn't work.
wants to relive anything like that? I don't want to
Mm,
think about that stuff anymore.
mm,
I'd rather just, watch something where I'm like, oh, okay, well,
mm,
it's seeing like one character and why they're doing something. And
mm. Do you think anything like, Earth abides, or, do you think there's more? Do you think anything like Earth abides could happen in real life, or, do you think there could be more pandemics coming in the future? What's your views on the way the world's heading?
I have no idea. I would say, um, I would say Earth Abides is just a, a damn good story that we all we see because it's a person fighting for love.
Mm,
And I would, you know, I think more stories should be like that.
mm.
So,
No, of course. Thank you for answering. It's been great having
no
you on.
problem.
Appreciate
Oh,
your
buddy,
time.
thank you for having me. This is
No
so
worries.
nice. I'm
No,
so happy that you enjoy the show, and I'm
yeah.
happy that people are watching.
No, no, definitely. Love the show. It's really good. definitely enjoyed it.
And I'm happy you get to see my cool hat.
That's cool. Where'd you get that from? What's
Oh,
the?
it was a gift during Christmas. I just really enjoy it. So
Mm,
I'm trying to show it off to as many people as possible.
that's epic. How did you meet Drake, by the way? I saw you got a picture up with him. Just out
Oh,
of
that was
curiosity.
just well, I live in Toronto, so
Oh wow.
I was at a concert and I stopped him for a photo. So
Oh, did you?
it wasn't that crazy.
Mm, mm.
He was a very nice guy for stopping to take photos with everybody.
Oh well, well. So, I mean, you caught him just in time, I guess.
Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
he was really cool. He was
Mm.
great. And I mean uh I would say in Toronto it's much easier to run into people than what people think. So
Oh wow. Okay. What makes you say that? Just because it's, the
it's a
acting?
I
Mm.
mean it's not a small city, but there's a select amount of places that he would probably be
Mm. Oh, do you mean
during.
him specifically or
Yeah,
celebrities?
yeah.
Oh,
I would
okay.
say him
Yeah.
specifically. I mean, there's a good amount of spots, and he owns half of the buildings here. So
Mm, mm. What about celebrity wise? Is it, good hotspot to go and visit?
it's very fun. I love this city. It gets very, very cold, but also it's very, very fun in the summer
mm,
because there's a lot to do.
mm.
And going up north is very fun.
Yeah, no.
It's very beautiful up north. There's spots like Muskoka and um places in the east. But I I think the city itself in the summer is a great spot because we have just it's a walking city.
Mm. Are you working on anything else? Are you working on any other projects at the moment?
A couple of things. I mean, I can't really talk about one thing, but yeah, I have a couple of things. There's a doc series that I'm trying to do, but yeah, there's a couple shows. I mean, for people in Canada, I'm on a show called Son of a Critch, and it premieres. I don't know when you're gonna play this, but tomorrow, which is January 6th, is
January
tomorrow? No,
7th tomorrow.
January 9th
Yeah.
is tomorrow.
January 7th, it says for me
Oh,
tomorrow.
7th.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But
Sorry.
it's all right. Yeah, no. So,
Yeah.
okay.
Son of a Critch premieres tomorrow.
Awesome. Amazing. Cool. Looking forward to seeing your other work and, can't wait to see what there is,
Thank you
coming to
so
TV.
much. And
Yeah.
yeah, thank you. It was great to meet you, and thanks
Mm.
for watching the show.
No worries. No, honestly, I think you did so well with your character. Not that you need my approval, but yeah, you
No,
smashed it.
I know that the show is coming out in the UK.
Mm.
So yeah, I'm excited. I think it's this month.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm excited to see how a bunch of people in the UK all react to it. I'm sure they'll have the same questions you did.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Rodrigo, thank you so much for coming on.
thanks for having me, man.
Appreciate it. Thanks so much. Awesome.
Cool.